The night didn't feel the same anymore. It wasn't just darker. It wasn't just colder. It was heavier. Like the air itself had thickened, pressing down against skin, against breath, against thought. Like something unseen had wrapped itself around the forest, tightening slowly, patiently, waiting. Kate stood at the edge of the clearing, unmoving. Her fingers were still intertwined with Rohi's. But this time, it wasn't desperation holding them together. It wasn't longing. It wasn't that aching, burning need she had carried for so long, the need to be chosen, to be seen, to be his. This time, it was real. The mate bond pulsed between them. Slow, steady, unshaken, like a second heartbeat. One that didn't belong to either of them, but somehow controlled both. Kate could feel it clearly now. Every pulse, every shift, every quiet surge of energy that moved between them like something alive. And that should have been everything she ever wanted. It should have been victory, closure, peace. But instead, for the first time, it terrified her. Because now she understood. Now she saw the truth that had been hidden from her, buried beneath manipulation, lies, and control. She wasn't just his mate. She was the reason everything had gone wrong. Her chest rose slowly as her eyes moved across the clearing. Across the wolves. Across the faces she had known her whole life. And the way they looked at her now. It wasn't the same. Before, they saw her as bold, outspoken, strong, maybe even reckless. But still, one of them. Now they looked at her like she didn't belong anymore. Like she had become something else entirely. Something they didn't understand. Something they feared. And fear spread faster than anything else in a pack. It crept silently. From one glance to another. From one whisper to 100. Kate could feel it building. Like cracks forming beneath the surface of something that was about to collapse. Rohi's grip tightened slightly around her hand. Not enough to hurt. But enough to ground. To remind. To claim. "I'm here," he said quietly, his voice low enough that only she could hear it. Kate didn't look at him immediately. Because she wasn't sure she could handle what she would see in his eyes. Not now. Not when everything felt like it was shifting beneath her feet. "You shouldn't be," she whispered back. That made him stiffen slightly. "What?" Now she turned. Slowly. And when their eyes met, the world narrowed. Everything else, the pack, the elders, the tension, the fear, faded into the background. "You heard what they said," she continued. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "They didn't just separate us because they wanted control." A pause. Her eyes searched his. They were afraid. Rohi's jaw tightened. "I don't care." Kate let out a quiet breath. There it was. The part of him that had always drawn her in. The part that didn't bend. Didn't hesitate. Didn't run. "That's the problem," she said softly. Before he could respond, the elders moved. Their presence cut through the moment like a blade. Cold. Precise. Unavoidable. "You cannot remain here." The voice was sharper now. No longer masked behind false calm. No longer pretending to guide. Now it commanded. Kate didn't react immediately. She let the words settle. Let them sink into the ground beneath her feet. Let the silence stretch long enough for everyone to feel the weight behind them. Then slowly, she tilted her head. Or what? Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried across the clearing, into every ear, and something else carried with it. Power. The kind that didn't need to be proven. The kind that simply existed, undeniable. A ripple moved through the pack. Subtle, but real. The elders noticed it. And for the first time, there was something new in their expression. Uncertainty. You are a threat to balance, one of them said. Kate's lips curved slightly. Not into a smile, but into something sharper. Balance, she repeated softly. Her gaze locked onto them. Unblinking. Or your control. The words landed like a strike. The silence that followed was louder than anything else. Because everyone felt it. The truth sitting beneath her words. Rohi stepped forward then. His presence shifted the entire atmosphere instantly. You're not sending her anywhere. There was no hesitation in his voice. No doubt. No conflict. And that changed everything. Because this time, he wasn't choosing in silence. He was choosing her. Out loud. In front of everyone. Kate felt it. The shift. The way the bond between them pulsed stronger in response. And behind them, Jane felt it too. She stood still. Completely still. Her hands hung at her sides, her fingers trembling slightly. Because this time, there was no misunderstanding. No confusion. No illusion left to cling to. He didn't look at her. Not once. And that absence. That silence. It said everything. Jane's chest tightened painfully. Her breathing became shallow. She wanted to speak. To say something. Anything. But the words wouldn't come. Because deep down, she already knew. She had always known. You don't understand what you're protecting, one of the elders snapped, his voice tightening. She isn't just your mate, she's a catalyst. Kate's eyes narrowed slightly. A catalyst for what? Silence. Again. And this time, it was worse. Because now it wasn't just avoidance. It was fear. Real fear. And if the elders were afraid, then whatever they were hiding had to be far worse than she imagined. The ground trembled. Slightly at first. Then again. Stronger. The forest reacted instantly. Leaves fell. Branches shook violently. The wind shifted direction without warning. Kate's body went still. Every instinct snapping into place. They're here. Rohi turned sharply toward her. You feel that? Kate nodded slowly. I don't just feel it. Her voice dropped. I recognize it. And that was worse. Because recognition meant connection. And connection meant danger. The first howl tore through the night. It wasn't a wolf. It was deeper. Heavier. Wrong. Then came another. And another. Until the sound surrounded them completely. The pack tensed instantly. Warriors stepped forward. Claws extended. Eyes glowed in the darkness. But Kate didn't move. She just stood there, listening, because something inside her was responding, not with fear, with familiarity. And if your chest feels tight right now, if your mind is racing, trying to understand what's coming, don't look away, because this is the moment everything changes. From the trees, they emerged, slowly, deliberately, not wolves, not human, something in between, twisted, ancient, powerful. Their movements were controlled, too controlled, like predators that didn't need to rush, because they already knew they had won. And their eyes glowed red, not gold, not green, red. And they weren't looking at the pack. They were looking at her. Kate. The leader stepped forward, larger than the others, stronger, more composed, more dangerous. "You've grown," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried through the clearing like a blade sliding across bone. Kate didn't flinch. "Do I know you?" A slow smile spread across his face. "No." A pause. "But your blood does." Kate's heartbeat slowed. Focused. Controlled. "What do you want?" The creature's gaze darkened slightly. "You." Silence fell again. Heavy. Unavoidable. Behind her, the pack shifted uneasily. Rohi stepped forward, placing himself slightly in front of her without thinking. Instinct. Protection. Claim. "You're not taking her anywhere." The creature let out a low, amused laugh. "You think this is a choice?" Kate's hand moved, resting lightly on Rohi's arm. And then she stepped around him, facing the creature directly. "No," she said calmly. "It's not." And in that moment, something shifted. Not around them. Within her. The air grew heavier. The wind picked up violently. The ground beneath her feet cracked slightly. Energy surged through her veins. Wild. Uncontrolled. Rising. The creature's eyes lit with interest. "There it is," he murmured. "The awakening." Kate's chest rose slowly. "What am I?" He stepped closer. And the closer he got, the stronger her power became. The bond between her and Rohi exploded with energy. And for the first time, he understood. This wasn't just power. This was something that could change everything. Or destroy it. And the night was only just beginning. The night didn't breathe anymore. It held itself still, like the forest itself was afraid of what was about to happen next. Kate didn't move. She couldn't. The energy inside her was rising too fast. Too strong. Too unfamiliar. It didn't feel like something she controlled. It felt like something that had been waiting. Waiting for this exact moment. Waiting for her to finally stop resisting it. Her fingers twitched slightly at her sides as the ground beneath her feet continued to crack in thin, jagged lines. Not wide enough to split the earth, but enough to show that something was pushing outward. Something alive. Something powerful. Rohi saw it first. The subtle tremor in her hand. The way her breathing shifted. The way her eyes changed. The faint golden glow he had seen before was no longer faint. It burned brighter now. Deeper. Unstable. Kate. His voice was low. Careful. Like he was approaching something that could either calm or explode. She didn't respond immediately, because she wasn't fully there anymore. Not completely. Something inside her had stepped forward, and it wasn't asking for permission. The creature in front of her smiled slowly. "Yes," he murmured. "Feel it." Kate's head tilted slightly, her expression tightening. "I don't like it," she said. Her voice sounded different. Deeper. Layered. The creature chuckled softly. "You don't have to like it." A pause. "You just have to accept it." And that was the moment everything began to slip. The power surged. Not gently. Not gradually. Violently. The wind around her exploded outward, forcing several wolves to step back instantly. Leaves lifted from the ground, spinning wildly in the air. Branches cracked under invisible pressure. Jane gasped, stumbling backward. What is happening to her? No one answered. Because no one knew. Even the elders were silent. And that silence said everything. Kate clenched her fists tightly, her entire body tensing. "Make it stop," she whispered. But it didn't stop. It grew. The bond between her and Rohi flared violently again, stronger this time, almost painful. Rohi sucked in a sharp breath, his body reacting instantly. It felt like something was pulling at him. Calling to him. Demanding something from him. Not just connection. Submission. That thought alone made his chest tighten. Because he was alpha. He didn't submit. But this wasn't about rank. This was something older. Stronger. Kate staggered slightly. That was all it took. The pack reacted. A low growl rippled through them. Uneasy. Instinctive. Because now, they didn't just see her as powerful. They saw her as unstable. And unstable power was dangerous. "She's losing control," one of the wolves muttered. "That thing inside her is exactly why she can't stay here," another snapped. The fear was spreading now. Fast. Kate heard it. Every word. Every whisper. And each one cut deeper than it should have. Because part of her knew. They weren't wrong. Rohi stepped closer to her again. Closer than before. "Look at me," he said firmly. Kate's eyes flickered toward him. And for a moment, just a moment, she came back. "I can't control it," she admitted. Her voice shaking now. Raw. Rohi didn't hesitate. "You don't have to control it alone." Something in his tone anchored her. Just enough. But not enough to stop what was coming. Because the elders had made their decision. It ends now. The words cut through everything. Kate turned sharply. "What?" The elder stepped forward, his expression cold, resolved. "You were a risk before," he said. "Now you are a threat." Rohi's entire body went rigid. "You don't get to decide that." The elder didn't even look at him. "We already have." And then everything broke. "Stop." Jane's voice. Loud. Sharp. Unexpected. All eyes turned to her. She stood there, breathing heavily, her chest rising and falling rapidly. For the first time, she wasn't quiet. She wasn't passive. She stepped forward. "You can't just kill her," she said. Her voice shook, but it held. Kate blinked. She hadn't expected that. Not from Jane. Not after everything. The elder's gaze shifted to her. "You would defend her?" Jane hesitated. Just for a second. Then she looked at Kate. Really looked at her. And something changed in her expression. Pain. Yes. But something else too. Understanding. "She's still my sister." The words hit harder than anything else in that moment. Kate's chest tightened unexpectedly. Because for the first time, this wasn't about rivalry. This wasn't about taking something from each other. This was real. But it didn't matter. Because the elder shook his head slowly. "That doesn't change what she is." Kate's eyes darkened slightly. "And what exactly is that?" The elder's voice dropped. "A mistake." And that was the moment everything snapped. The power inside her surged again, stronger than before. This time, she didn't try to stop it. The ground cracked wider. The air distorted. And her eyes burned. Bright. Golden. Uncontrolled. The creature in front of her smiled wider. Yes. This is what they feared. Rohi stepped in front of her again instinctively. But this time, it wasn't just to protect her. It was to protect everyone else. Because now, even he wasn't sure what she might do. And if your heart is racing right now, if you're wondering whether she'll lose herself completely, don't look away. Because this is the moment she decides who she becomes. The elders raised their hands. And the pack moved. Not all of them. But enough. Enough to make it clear. They had chosen a side. And it wasn't hers. Rohi's voice cut through the chaos. Anyone who takes another step. But he didn't finish. Because Kate moved. Fast. Faster than anyone expected. She stepped forward past him. Into the center. Into the danger. "No," she said quietly. And everything stopped. The wind. The movement. The tension. All of it froze. Because something had shifted again. This time, she wasn't losing control. She was taking it. And that was far more dangerous. Her gaze lifted slowly, sweeping across the pack, across the elders, across the creatures waiting in the shadows. "You're all afraid of me," she said. Not accusing. Not emotional. Just stating a fact. And maybe you should be. The words settled into the air like a promise. Because now, there was no turning back. The silence didn't last long. It couldn't. Because something had already been set in motion. Something far too big to stop now. Kate stood at the center of the clearing, her chest rising slowly, her eyes still glowing, no longer flickering, no longer unstable. But controlled. And that was more terrifying than anything else. Because now the power inside her wasn't breaking free. It was listening. The pack felt it immediately. That shift. That difference. Moments ago, she had been unpredictable, dangerous, unstable. Now she was something else entirely. Something deliberate. Something that understood exactly what it was capable of. Rohi didn't move. He stood just behind her, his gaze fixed on her back, not in fear, but in realization. This was who she had always been. Not someone becoming powerful, but someone finally revealing it. And for the first time, he understood why the bond had never let go of her. Why it had resisted every attempt to be broken. Why it had pulled him back, again and again, even when he tried to deny it. Because this was never something that could be replaced. The elder stepped forward again, but slower this time. More cautious. "You don't understand what you're doing," he said. Kate didn't look at him. "I understand perfectly," she replied. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "You were afraid of me before I even knew what I was." A pause. "And now that I do." She finally turned, her glowing eyes locking onto his. "You think you can still control the outcome?" The elder's expression hardened. "We don't need to control it," he said. His voice dropped. "We just need to end it." And then he raised his hand. The signal. The moment everything shattered. The pack moved. Not all of them, but enough. Enough to turn tension into chaos. Wolves lunged forward. Claws out. Teeth bared. And from the edges of the forest, the red-eyed creatures surged in. Fast. Violent. Unrelenting. The clearing exploded into motion. Rohi shifted instantly. His body twisted, bones snapping into place, for ripping through skin as his wolf took over, massive, powerful, dominant. A true alpha. He threw himself between Kate and the first attacker without hesitation. Claws collided. Bodies slammed into the ground. The sound of battle filled the night. But Kate didn't move. Not at first. Because she was watching. Feeling. Understanding. The chaos around her wasn't random. It was reacting. To her. To what she had become. Jane stumbled backward as two wolves clashed just feet away from her. Her breathing was uneven, her eyes wide as she looked around, trying to make sense of everything happening at once. This wasn't what she had imagined. Not what she had feared. This was worse. Because now, there was no safe side. No clear right or wrong. Only survival. And in the center of it all, her sister. Kate lifted her hand slowly. And the moment she did, the ground responded. It cracked outward in a wide circle, forcing wolves and creatures alike to stumble back. The air shifted. Energy surged. Not wild this time. Directed. Controlled. And for the first time, she didn't feel overwhelmed by it. She felt connected. Like it had always been hers. "You want to end this," she said quietly. Her voice carried through the chaos. Through the fighting. Through the noise. "Then stop running from what I am." The elder froze. Just for a moment. And that moment was enough. Kate stepped forward. The energy around her flared outward, pushing everything back. Even Rohi paused, his wolf form shifting slightly as he turned toward her. Because now, she wasn't just part of the fight. She was controlling it. The red-eyed creature, the leader, stepped forward again, watching her closely. "This is what you were meant to become," he said. Kate's gaze flickered briefly to him. "And what exactly is that?" He smiled slightly. "A ruler." The word settled into the air. Not heavy. Not shocking. But right. Kate felt it. Deep in her chest. Not like a suggestion. Like a truth she had always known, but never allowed herself to accept. Rohi shifted back into human form beside her, breathing heavily. "You don't have to do this alone," he said. Kate looked at him. Really looked at him. And this time, there was no doubt. No hesitation. No distance. "You're still here," she said softly. Rohi let out a breath. "I was never going anywhere." And that was the final choice. Not forced. Not manipulated. Chosen. The bond between them surged, stronger than ever. Not chaotic. Perfect. Jane watched them from a distance, her chest tightening painfully. But this time, she didn't look away. Because now she understood. It had never been about taking something from her. It had never been about losing. It had always been truth finding its way back. She swallowed hard, stepping forward slowly. "Kate." Kate turned slightly. Jane hesitated. Then spoke. "End this." No anger. No bitterness. Just acceptance. Kate nodded once. Then turned back toward the elders. "This ends now," she said. And for the first time, they believed her. The elder raised his hand again. But it never came down. Because the ground beneath him shattered. Cracking upward, forcing him to his knees. The power surged again, stronger, brighter, undeniable. And this time, there was no fear in Kate's eyes. Only certainty. "You tried to control what you didn't understand," she said. Her voice steady. Unbreakable. "You tried to destroy it, before it could exist." The elder struggled, his expression finally cracking. "You'll destroy everything," he shouted. Kate shook her head slowly. "No." A pause. "I'll decide what stays, and what doesn't." The energy surged one final time. And then, silence. The kind of silence that follows the end of something. The battle stopped. Not because it was finished, but because it had been decided. The creatures stepped back. The pack stood still. The elders said nothing. Because they couldn't. Because for the first time, they weren't in control anymore. Kate lowered her hand slowly. The power didn't fade. It settled. Like it had finally found its place. She turned slightly, looking out across the clearing. At the wolves. At the creatures. At everything that had once been divided. And now was waiting. Waiting for her. Rohi stepped beside her. Not in front. Not behind. Beside. Equal. Jane stood a few steps away. Not part of it. But not outside it either. Just there. And for the first time, that was enough. Kate took a slow breath, then spoke. "This ends tonight." Her voice carried across everything. No more lies. No more control. No more fear. A pause. Only truth. The wind moved again. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It wasn't suffocating. It was calm. Like the forest itself had finally exhaled. And in that moment, Kate wasn't the girl who had been rejected. She wasn't the woman who had fought to be chosen. She wasn't the one chasing something that had been taken from her. She was something more. Something undeniable. Something that didn't need to ask. Didn't need to prove. Didn't need to fight to belong. Because she already did. She stepped forward slightly. And the entire clearing moved with her. Not out of fear, but out of recognition. And that was the moment everything truly changed. Not when she gained power. Not when the truth came out. Not when the bond was revealed. But now, when she chose who she would be, and who she would not. The night settled. The chaos faded. And for the first time since it all began, everything was still. Not because nothing remained, but because everything had finally found its place. And Kate had found hers.